play and call it work. MiniWarGaming's Faction Focus!
Hey there, Wargamers, Josh and Cullen here to bring you the Ad Mech Faction Focus. In this video, we're going to take a look at all the different units for Ad Mech and give some of our thoughts overall for what's changed from 7th to 8th, as well as just kind of a basic overview of what the units do. So let's get right to it. Alright guys, let's get right down to it here. We're going to start taking a look at just the overall Adeptus Mechanicus army list rules. So keyword stuff, you have Forge World. It works the same way basically as like Space Marine chapters, Imperial Guard regiments, that sort of thing. So you get to pick what Forge World everybody comes from. Yeah, and they gain that keyword.
All the armies pretty much have something similar to this. This is just the Mechanicus version of it.
Right, so nice and easy. The one ability that the army has is Canticles of the Omnissiah. So this is nice. This is they've decided to wrap in, because Ad Mech's finally one army list.
Yes.
Because it used to be Scutari separate to Cult Mechanicus. And they had the Canticles for the Cult Mechanicus and the Doctrines for the Scutari.
Just trying to streamline it and just turn it all into Canticles, it seems.
Right, they've done away with that. So, and the system's pretty cool. So one thing you do have to make note of, for a battle-forged army, units only receive the bonuses if every model in their detachment has the ability. So you can't mix some other Imperium stuff in here and still use Canticles.
Yeah, if you wanted to bring the other Imperium stuff and still be able to use these, it seems like you have to make a whole new detachment.
It's going to be a separate detachment, which makes sense. Pretty simple in that one. So there are 6 Canticles. We're going to go over them in a second, but first of all, I'm going to explain how you use them. So at the start of each battle round, so it's not the start of your turn, unless you're going first, it's the start of the battle round. So that means you can start with something active immediately, which is nice. You look at some of the other armies, bonuses, you know, psychic power, that kind of stuff, and you need to go first.
Yeah.
This one, nope, just at the start of the first battle round.
Handy. So
it's nice, after deployment and all that, you get to decide which Canticle you're going to use. Now, there's 2 different mechanics, and it confused me at first, because before you couldn't use the same Canticles over and over again unless you took certain detachments. The way they do it now is you get to pick one of the 6 Canticles, and the next battle round you pick another one. You cannot pick one that's already been picked.
Okay, so that's how they kind of stop you from just using one across the whole battle.
Yeah, to say, like, I'm going to be Shroud Psalm the entire battle. Yeah. Can't do that. What they do allow you to do, though, is roll. Okay. So you roll a d6, and if you roll one at random that's already been picked, you still get to use it again. So
with that randomness kind of balances out. Now that's the way you could get, I guess, if you were super lucky and keep rolling the same result every single turn.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 1 in 6 chance to get the one you want. So usually, I mean, there's a couple different ones you're going to bounce between. I could see you never wanting to roll necessarily. But, yeah, there's some options there. So, Cullen, you want to run us through the different Canticles and what they do?
Sure. So, first off, we got our one result, which is Incantation of Iron Soul, which allows you to re-roll failed morale tests for affected units.
Not terrible, but, I mean, the way that I play, it's a lot of multiple small units. I'm not really failing that many anyways, and if I am, I don't care. But if you play certain ways with big blobs of infantry, I can see that being useful once in a while.
Next up, we got, is that Litany?
Litany
of Electromancer. So this is the 2 result. Roll a d6 for each enemy unit within 1 inch of an affected unit. On a roll of a 6, the unit being rolled for then suffers d3 mortal wounds. Kind
of a funny one again. It's not super effective. With the multiple small unit thing, in my opinion, if you're using this, everything's already went terribly wrong.
Yeah, because I mean, to get the most value out of it, everything needs to be engaged, because it only affects models within or units within 1 inch. Yep. So again, everything needs to be engaged, and then even with that, you have to be rolling a 6, and then you're only doing d3 mortal wounds on that 6. So it doesn't seem like it has a lot of bang for its buck, actually.
But I mean, like, to maybe use a command point. Like, if you get a character you're engaged with, you want to do d3 mortal wounds to him.
True.
You got a 1 in 3 chance with a reroll, I guess. Like, it's kind of funny, but again, I don't see it being like the most useful, most popular one.
And again, you got to be within 1 inch of that character, and then roll a d6, and on a 6, then you're suffering that. So
I know it's probably not going to happen.
Super not reliable, it seems. But then we move on to Chant of the Remorseless Fist. The 3 result. You can re-roll failed hit rolls of 1 for affected units in the fight phase.
Again, not terribly effective because, you know, Ad Mech is really pushing a lot of firepower. But I'm starting to change my opinion on that because certain units, rerolling ones to hit, like a lot of your close combat specialists, which are pretty good in this edition, are going to be hitting on 3s. So hitting on 3s, rerolling 1's kind of a big deal.
Yep, and I can see you definitely being able to build a list kind of with that in mind. Being able to maybe use that on a special turn that you really need it, and really being able to clean up your opponent in the combat phase.
Right, this is kind of the mid-game, late-game stuff where things are engaged and I have to, you know, try to punch you to death. So at least I have that. It's a nice option. Again, I don't see myself building a list heavily around it, but to be able to use it later in the game if you need to is nice.
Number 4 is Shroud Spawn. Affected units gain the bonus to their armor saving throws as if they were in cover. Units that are already in cover are unaffected.
So yeah, Shroud Spawn, with the way that they're doing it now, +1 to your armor save. You already got good armor saves across the board. Huge. This is probably, I'd say this is my favorite, most useful one.
Especially because a lot of your stuff is already 3-up to 4-up armor.
Yeah.
Pushing it to 2-up and 3-up is just gets amazing.
Hilariously crazy. And the same, you know, you're just... It's the durability. You can play a real attrition game with Ad Mech, and this helps.
Yeah, you can really put your models in the best ways for them to be able to see and shoot your opponent, but then still not worry about them being stuck out in the open and getting shot up the next turn. At least you get a little bit of bonus to keep them alive, hopefully a little bit longer. We go on to number 5, which is Invocation of the Machine Might, which affected units have +1 strength.
Again, not terribly effective, but also not the worst thing in the world. Like, let's just swing a little bit harder. I'd argue that Chanter of the Remorseless Fist is probably the better one. But it depends on how you build your army and what you're playing against. Yep. +1 strength is nice.
And then number 6 is Benediction of the Omnissiah. You can reroll failed hit rolls of 1 for affected units in the shooting phase. And now this one seems pretty darn good. Yeah,
I mean, the reroll hit rolls of 1. With your characters, you've already got some mechanics here to allow... rerolls close by, but the whole army-wide thing, it's pretty good.
Yeah,
it's that one turn where you just need stuff to die.
Exactly. So either, I don't know if you want to do this first turn maybe, or one of the second or third turn, and then use your characters to kind of allow you to reroll your ones on all the other turns.
See, what I've been finding in a lot of the games I've been playing, and it's somewhat limited at this point, guys, is I'm using this mid to late game. Because in the opening turns, I have my characters all kind of bubbled up close by to give the rerolls.
Yep.
And
then I see what you mean.
Later, when I've had to move forward, you know, my Vanguard are out of position or whatever, that's when it's coming in helpful for me.
Yeah, no, I totally see that. Yeah, using the characters first few turns. Huh. Interesting.
So that is what they're doing for Canticles now. A lot easier to keep track of, a lot less bookkeeping, in my opinion. I dig it. I like the change.
Seems good. Seems very good. It seems like almost all the armies got some kind of chart, and I have no complaints about any of these real results on this chart.
Moving right over to the actual units here, we're going to start off with the Tech Priest Dominus. Cullen, the Tech Priest Dominus is both my favorite non-unique HQ choice for the Ad Mech, as well as my least favorite one, because we still only have one.
Yeah, that's very interesting, only being... Like, I mean, you've got your special character, but as this guy is your only HQ, you're not really mixing and matching your generals here.
Yeah, you don't have a ton of options. And, I mean, his war gear's somewhat limited in what he's able to take. He's not a bad choice, but I would have loved to see them add, and they still might add in, like, a Skitarii HQ.
Okay.
Because I know it exists. They've got it for 30k Ad Mech.
Oh, okay. So that would be interesting, because, yeah, only having one option is, I mean... You don't have a lot of play with it there.
Now, and I might be getting corrected on this, but I'm pretty sure with 40k Ad Mech, they still have the different branches, like they did back for 30k. So I'd love to see like an Ordo Reductor guy, which is like your siege kind of close combat-y guy. I would love to see a more close combat character. But the Dominus himself isn't that bad. Highlights of a couple of the important stats here is ballistic skill 2-up, weapon skill 3-up.
Seems very standard across the board that your characters are hitting almost always on 2s or at least 3s.
Yeah, I mean they're solid enough. Toughness 4, nothing to write home about. You got 5 wounds again, which is nice enough, and a 2-up save.
Fairly basic, nothing crazy.
He's not super resilient, so I'd still want to use him as a support character. All the different guns are pretty solid. What I've been finding I'm doing with him, though, is running him with the cheapest option, which is, I believe, the Macro Stubber and the Volkite Blaster.
Okay.
Because he's a support character. He's got some really cool special rules here. And yeah, like I said, he's got the option between 2 different pistols and 2 different longer range weapons. Nothing especially fancy or shiny. Not super excited about it. Of course, he's got the Canticles of the Omnissiah rule. Refractor Field, so he gets a 5-up invuln. Good enough. Master of Machines is a rule that we see across, I think, about 4 different units in the army. So at the end of your movement phase, you can repair a single friendly Ad Mech model within 3, but not himself. That model gains D3 lost wounds. And you will only be the target of a Master Machine's ability once per turn, regardless of the source.
Yeah, so essentially you can't spam it all on one tank. That say the tank's at 1 wound, you can't have 3 or 4 of your characters jump on him
and just do 4d3 wounds back or something.
Yeah,
it doesn't work.
None of that. Just 1 per unit you're targeting, but the ability to push especially a tank or something above one of its wound caps. Yep. Say where it's dropped below half and being able to push it right up above and get its ballistic skill back to where it was.
Exactly.
Is super, super helpful.
And the healing is all automatic now.
Yeah.
There's no, repair roll or anything else like that. It just does it. He does have the Masterwork Bionics rule, so at the beginning of each of the turns, he gets to heal D3 wounds.
That's him himself.
Yep.
Nice.
So he gets to do that, heal D3 himself, and then heal something else D3. And then Lord of the Machine Cult, you can reroll hit rolls of 1 in the shooting phase for friendly Forge World, whatever, units within 6.
Yeah, that one's big. That's awesome.
Overall, he's a cool character. He's relatively inexpensive because I see him still as mostly being a tax.
Yep.
Like you bring him because you need him.
You need him because you need your HQ slot
to go for Battleforged armies.
Yeah, for sure.
And he's not a terrible option, but again, I'm usually having him kind of hide backfield and.
Yeah, he seems like he's going to be sitting by something that you want to reroll ones always, and he's going to sit within 6 inches of them and give them that buff and be able to heal them up if they need it.
Yep.
But nothing crazy. He's not going to be, shooting anything down, anything big himself. He's just going to be, buffing the rest of your guys.
Next up, for the other HQ choice that you have here, is Belisarius Call. The man, the myth, the legend, probably one of my favorite models.
What a beast he is as well.
So I will start off by saying he's lost his feel no pain kind of mechanic that made him super unkillable. And it's probably good because he was too good anyways.
But they still made him pretty hard to kill with 8 wounds, a 2-up save, and he's got a 5-up invul.
And toughness 6.
Yep.
So yeah, he's definitely still a beast. Weapon skill, ballistic skill of 2 apiece there. Movement 6, so nothing to write home about, but average movement.
He's going to be hitting 1 better than your basic tech priest.
Yep.
And he's going to have a decent more wounds and is much stronger and, with a higher strength and toughness. So not bad.
It's worth taking him in most regards. We've got for the weapons, Solar Atomizer, which is basically, it used to be like a giant Melta type weapon. They've changed it a little bit now. It's Assault D3, which is nice because he might be advancing to keep up with the army.
Yeah, having just the assault option is always nice.
And it's a 12-inch range, so it's good enough. Strength 10, minus 40 your save, D3 damage.
Very nice. And then if the weapon is at half range, so within 6 inches, instead of doing D3 damage, it does D6.
I'm happy enough with that. Again, I'm not bringing him for his shooting. That's just a nice little bit of extra there.
Yep, if he's close by something he can shoot, he's probably going to do some decent damage to it, but you're not always making sure that he's going to be shooting his best target or anything like that.
Yeah. In close combat, he still is no slouch, which is kind of important for this army. He's got 3 different close combat weapons. 1 attacks automatically regardless, and the other 2 you're doing the pick between for his base attacks.
Yeah, so you got a choice of his Arc Scourge, which is strength times 2, minus 1 AP, and if it's against vehicles, it's just 1 damage, but if it's against vehicles, it does D3.
Which is kind of nice. It gets you up to strength 10 hitting on 2s.
Or his Omnissiah Axe, which is similar to a Power Axe, which is just plus 1 strength, minus 2 AP, but 2 damage. So It seems like if you're hitting infantry, you probably want to use the Axe. The Arc Scourge maybe against vehicles, because you do get your D3 damage.
Right.
And then his what is this?
The Mechanic Hive.
Mechanic Hive, which is again another melee weapon which he can use every time he fights, and you just got to make 2d6 attacks with this, and it's just strength user, no AP, 1 damage, but it's a bonus 2d6 attacks, which is pretty darn awesome. Like you're just gonna end up, the more dice you roll, the more chance you're gonna have to hit stuff. So.
Exactly. I mean, they're hitting on 2s. They're gonna wound most stuff probably on 3s or 4s. It's good enough.
Yeah, because I mean his base strength is still 5.
Right, because all the big terrifying Griblies that get to your army, if they're getting into fight Call, you're putting Call up against them, you've probably made mistakes. Yes. He's there to finish off maybe some of the tougher units, and just to kind of kill some of the chaff running around. Looking at his special rules, so he's got basically all the same rules as the Tech Priest Dominus, except for his Lord of Mars ability, which replaces the Lord of the Machine Cult. You can reroll any hit rolls in the shooting phase for friendly Mars units within 6.
So not just ones, you're going to be rerolling everything, which is awesome, especially when you get to start moving, shooting heavy weapons, moving, shooting, or running, shooting your assault weapons. The more chances you have to get those rerolls, the better with this guy. It's
just bananas when you put certain units around him, but we'll talk about that later. The other ability probably the ability that I would take him for is Archmagos. So if he's on the battlefield, you can add or subtract 1 when rolling on the Canticles of the Omnissiah table.
Which is sweet.
That means that, I mean, like Shroud Psalm or something like that, basically something that's not a 1 result or a 6 result.
Yes.
You got 50-50 chance to get whatever you want.
Yeah, you roll above it, you subtract 1, you roll below it, you give it +1, and you can... Yeah, so giving your...
I use Shroud Psalm as my example.
Yeah, Shroud Psalm... Invocation of Might. I don't know why exactly you really want to push that one, but...
Well, Chant of the Remorseless Fist, I mean, you basically get the options there, and it's mostly because you want Shroud Psalm most turns.
I would say so as well.
And for that hilarious +1 to your save as if you're in cover. But yeah, on a roll of 3, 4, or 5, you can just say it's going to be Shroud Psalm. Super handy. I like it. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about Call. He's just a solid character. He's not as unkillable as before. You still can't have him like wandering around up front taking las cannon shots to the face. But if you keep him kind of buried within a unit, super tough to get rid of him.
He ain't going anywhere.
Next up, we've got a Tech Priest Engine Seer as an elite choice. So, pretty basic stats. Strength 4, Toughness 4, 4 wounds. So he's fairly resilient, 3-up save. He's kind of boring. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not in love with the Engine Seers. You're bringing him because, well, I mean, he's got his last pistol, power axe, and servo arm.
Nothing crazy on the weapons. It just seems like he does have Master of Machines, which seems like maybe is the only reason you bring him, so you can heal your tanks or anything. Again, another D3 lost wounds, bringing those back.
Right. I mean, I look at him, he's not an overly expensive character, or if we talk about the Servitors lately, he can help with them a bit. The role that he fills, I'm already having my Tech Priest Dominus do. So I guess it depends on the point level that you want to do.
Okay.
To keep Doom Crawlers healed, that kind of stuff. I've already got other stuff doing it, though, so I find him to be somewhat redundant. He's not a bad character, guys. He definitely still has his uses. He can also repair Astra Militarum vehicles within 3, which is kind of nice because he's the only one that can repair the Astra Militarum stuff. But again, for pure Ad Mech, he's nothing special, guys. I don't see myself using him that often at all, unless I just don't have the points for another Tech Priest Dominus to do the same thing.
Yeah, because it seems like if you could bring 2 Tech Priest Dominuses, you're going to bring that over 1 Dominus and 1 Engine Seer almost every day.
Right. I mean, like, unless I'm taking Call and a Dominus, I might take 2 Dominus because I need the 2 HQ choices for the, what was it?
Battalion?
Battalion detachment, yeah. I don't know. I find him redundant, and I got other elites I'd rather bring than him. Continuing on now to the first troop choice for the Cult Mechanicus portion of this, Cataphron Breachers. I was a fan of them before. I still continue to be a fan of them. They're somewhat slower, 5-inch move. They've still got their toughness 5 for the resiliency of them, though. 3 wounds a pop now. Good enough. And we got a 3-up armor save.
Yeah, fairly decent all around for stats.
Pretty tough little unit. Now, it works the same way. You get one of the shooting weapons and one of the close combat weapons. The two shooting weapons, we have the heavy arc rifle and the torsion cannon. I think when we checked, they were similar enough in point costs.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about the heavy arc rifle first. 36-inch range, heavy 2. Strength 6, -2 to your save, D3 damage. If it's a vehicle, it's a damage D6. So it's your poor man's las cannon.
Mm-hmm.
This used to be a haywire weapon, so it kind of makes sense that most vehicles you're looking for that 5. So what do you think, Cullen, overall?
Yeah, no, it's a good way to kill vehicles is what it seems like. Not so good at killing infantry or anything like that, but I don't think that's what you're bringing these guys here for.
Well, it's heavy 2, so compared to the torsion cannon. Torsion cannon's heavy 1. Torsion cannon's only 24-inch range. Strength 8, -4 to your save, D6 damage, though.
See, I'm a fan of the -4 AP, but the only one shot is just a lot. Even if you bring a squad of 3 of them, you only get 3 shots as opposed to 6. I think I'd prefer to roll 6 dice myself. But always D6 damage can be very nice if you're trying to shoot at bigger things, but most of the bigger things are vehicles, so you might as well bring the heavy arc rifle.
Right. I mean, they've got their options there. I still, like I said, I like the heavy arc rifle because I like more shots and more range.
Mm-hmm.
That's big for me. The other things we're looking at here is the arc claw or the hydraulic claw. Both melee weapons. Your arc claw is +1 strength, -1 AP. It's 1 damage, but if you swing at a vehicle, it's D3.
Mm-hmm.
You're not bringing these guys for their close combat ability.
No.
Hydraulic claws are basically their power fists.
Yep. Strength ×2, -1 AP, D3 damage.
Yeah, so they don't have to go to an AP.
And yeah, you have to subtract 1 to hit as well. Like
overall, I mean they're cool. I like heavy arc rifles for the range.
Yes.
That's about all I can. Or sorry, let's get into the rest of these. Bionics. So you get your 6-up invuln.
Which is nice. Just having a 6-up. Anything with more than a -3 rend.
Right.
Still getting that save against it, even if it's just a 6-up, is better than no save.
Exactly. And then heavy battle servitor. When you advance, you only go D3, but you're not going to advance much anyways because you don't suffer the penalty for moving and shooting a heavy weapon.
Which is very huge. Like that's awesome. Being able to kind of move around the board and really get the range on these guys, or the line of sight where you need it to be. Yeah, you're not going to be moving super far, but just not having to hit on 5s for moving is awesome.
It's a lot tougher to hide from them.
Yep.
Because they can move around a little bit and still shoot full at you. So overall, like I said, they're not a terrible troop choice. I don't know if I would take them over some of the other Skitarii stuff, let's say. But I'm also not focusing heavily on troop choices here. I like to bring a lot of the heavy support and elite stuff.
Yeah, exactly. These are just kind of fill out the troop slots you need for whatever detachment.
Yep. I mean, they've got their uses, but nothing fantastic again. They're good enough.
Next up, we're going to look at the Cataphren Destroyers. So essentially these same stats as we looked at before, but they're having 1 less save and 1 less attack. These guys are definitely going to be more for shooting than, I mean, I don't know why you'd really necessarily want your other guys up in close combat anyway, but these guys are more shooting as they have much more weapon options here. Okay,
so yeah, again, they've got the 2 arms, they get 2 weapons a pop, and you are either having a Cognis Flamer or a Phosphor Blaster, and then in addition you have a heavy grav cannon or a plasma culverin. So we'll talk real quick about the Cognis Flamer versus the Phosphor Blaster, because again, they're similar enough in point cost. They're, I think, like a 3-point difference.
Yes.
Cognis Flamer is basically just a flamer, but for Overwatch, you roll 2d6 and pick the highest for the amount of hits.
That's nice.
Definitely handy.
Flamers in Overwatch are always awesome with their auto hitting, but getting just to choose the highest is pretty cool. I don't know how often these guys are going to be getting charged and have guys within 8 inches that are going to be charging them, so this might not be always super useful.
Yeah.
But it is just that a deterrent for your opponent to not charge them as well.
It helps out a little bit with that kind of stuff, yeah. So some of the deep strikey units that are going to threaten your shooters hanging out in the backfield, this can help deter them if they're not like Terminators or something terrifying like that.
Exactly.
Now the Phosphor Blaster, 24-inch range, rapid fire, strength 5, -1 to your save. You don't get cover against it. It's not a terrible gun, but again, you're not taking them for that.
Nope.
I think... yeah, Cognis Flamer is probably going to be my favorite pick there.
Yeah, I mean, the Phosphor Blaster has the option of being rapid fire. Well, it's rapid fire 1, so you can get 2 shots off of it. But you might want to be moving with these guys because I believe they also have the penalty, which allows them to not suffer from moving and shooting heavy weapons. But it doesn't say anything about moving and shooting rapid fire. So you're probably only going to be getting 1 shot if you're just getting these guys around to get the ideal line of sight. So the rapid fire with the extra shot might not even be that useful.
Yeah. Now we're going to look at the heavier weapons, and I think Cullen and I were split on this, but we're going to kind of talk about them a bit. Heavy grav cannon versus plasma culverin. So the heavy grav cannon, 30-inch range, heavy 5, strength 5, -3 to your save, 1 damage, but if the save characteristic of whatever you're shooting at is 3 or better, it does D3 damage. Pretty heavy gun.
Standard grav rules, but it's the heavy 5 version.
So the other one here, the Plasma Culverin, again, 2 firing modes. They're both heavy D6, and it basically fires as a plasma gun. It's a plasma cannon. I don't think there's anything different other than a standard plasma cannon on here.
Exactly, strength 7, and then if you supercharge it, it's strength 8.
-3 to the save, 1 damage or 2 damage, depending if you supercharge or not. What do you think? I said I was a big fan of the heavy grav cannon.
I like the Plasma Culverin. I mean, I don't like the not very dependence of the heavy D6, but the strength 7 or strength 8, well, especially the strength 8 with 2 damage, I think is super awesome. I really like things that are multiple damage results, especially things that are flatline 2 or 3, because. And yeah, I mean, you got to worry about rolling 1s for supercharging, but with all your other stuff that's allowing you to reroll 1s, I really like the supercharge.
It lets you be a little bit more kind of, but the stuff you want to do multiple damage against, I argue, usually has a 3 or better save. So the D3 damage of the heavy grav.
Yep. I mean, you do get an extra 6-inch range with the plasma, and I think that one is the slightly cheaper result of the 2.
A couple points cheaper, yeah.
So that's kind of the one I thought I would like, and I mean, Josh is on the grav train, but
which is funny because I never used to really love grav, but it just seems like the better option right now because the way I look at it, so plasma culverin, if you're going to shoot, it's heavy D6, so an average that's 3.5 shots. You hit on 4s, so on average that's 1.75 hits. I don't like Math Hammer, I know, but when it comes to Ad Mech, I go right to the numbers. It's a numbers game for Ad Mech. Yeah. It is with everything else, but for whatever reason, that's how I think of when I play Ad Mech. I'm just not a huge fan of.
I can see that. To me, it's the strength. The strength 5 is good, but I think you're going to be hitting.
Well, the strength 7 or 8, yeah.
Yeah, I think you're going to be still like strength 7 seems to be where most tanks are, and then if it's a big heavy one, you get the 8. But being able to wound on 2s. It'll
all become clear when we talk about Dune crawlers. Yes. Of why I don't care about other stuff having good strength. So it's got the same rules too. These guys get the Bionics for the 6-up invul and then heavy battle servitor. So advanced D3 only, but you ignore moving and shooting heavy weapons.
Very nice.
Now we're going to move on to talking about the Electro Priests, who I didn't even realize existed before 8th edition. People yell at me. Well, Steve yells at me because I never really brought them. They were, I don't know, they were garbage in 7th. They weren't worth it the way they are in 8th.
Let's just say I didn't play a lot of any 7th edition really, but I knew these guys were bad.
They just there was ways to make it work, but you had to have like a whole army of these things, and they just meh.
Yeah, again, one of those things where when you have to build around it and do all these things, is it really that good? Is you have to add 6 other things to make them at least remotely playable? Probably not.
Right. So looking at the stats, 6-inch movement, standard, good enough. Weapon skill 3 up. Ballistic skill, who cares because I can't shoot. Strength 3, toughness 3. So 1 wound.
Just the basic human.
2 attacks though, which is nice. Leadership 8, which is
still pretty nice.
That's good enough because they don't have a surge or anything that boosts it. They're all just
base leadership 8 is definitely nothing to scoff at, and then just a 6-up save,
which we'll explain in a minute why that doesn't matter.
I was gonna say that's completely irrelevant. But their Electro Leech Stabs is their weapon, which are +2 strength, -2 AP, and D3 damage each. And the cool part is each time you make a roll of a 6+, with this
wound
weapon,
roll of 6.
Or wound roll of 6+, it does D3 mortal wounds instead of normal damage.
It's hilarious. So I mean, they're already good at carving up elite infantry with 2 attacks, strength 5 -2, D3 damage a pop.
Hitting it, strength 5 is nice.
Yeah, because I mean,
AP.
most stuff you're going to be wounding on 3s. But the chance to do mortal wounds, this is all of a sudden where like Terminators and other stuff starts to get scared. Because these guys will just cut through them if you can spike the dice.
Yeah, exactly. Only -2 AP, but it doesn't matter if I'm rolling 6s and I get mortal wounds.
Right. A couple of the other nice rolls here is the Voltegeist field. Everybody gets a 5-up invuln.
Very nice. Just completely ignore that 5 or that 6-up save because you're going to be using your 5-up invul the whole time.
Exactly. And when the unit completes a charge move, pick one of the target units you charged and roll a d6 for each model in the charging unit. Any rolls of 6 inflict a mortal wound on the unit you picked. So when you charge in, just do mortal wounds, because why not?
Free mortal wounds on the charge. I mean, it's only on a 6, but it's nobody, like, not a lot of other units get to do that. So you're just getting a free chance to do mortal wounds when you charge.
Now, here's the catch. Now, that's in the charge phase, so you be careful you don't overkill units, because you want to kill them in the combat phase.
Yeah, you do.
Siphoned Vigor. If you wipe out a unit in the fight phase with these guys, their invulnerable save is increased to 3-up for the rest of the battle.
Not the rest of the turn, not the rest of the battle round, the battle in total. So if you're able to pull this off on turn 2, you're going to get a 3-up invul the rest of the game.
So that's where I see people being overly aggressive with them. I still think, because you can only have, okay, I guess you have a unit of 20. That'd be terrifying. It's kind of a point sink, I guess.
I mean, at that
not a terrible one, but yeah, they're super scary. I think I'd still rather have them be the counter assault unit. It's nice to get the 3-up invuln, but people I think are too obsessed with trying to get it, and they lose the unit because of it.
Yeah, no, I can totally see if that's all you're going for. You're going to run your guys up to the battlefield, and they're going to get shot. They are going to get shot. People are going to play around it. People know what they're going to do.
Right. That being said, though, certain armies, yeah, maybe rush them up the board because, well, you're going to have to deal with them.
Yeah, make it the
obvious choice for shooting.
Yeah, just have them choose to shoot these guys and not shoot at any of their bigger stuff. So that could be definitely nice. And having to have your opponent, sometimes use their las cannons or something like that, just to have to shoot into these guys because they're so afraid.
Now, we've also got Fanatical Devotion. Every time a model in the unit loses a wound on a d6 roll of 5 or 6, you don't lose that wound. So I don't want to call it a Feel No Pain, but it's basically the old Feel No Pain, and there's no more instant death you got to worry about. So strength 6 or higher, doesn't matter, you still get it against it. Yeah, and that's it seems like there's no restriction against that, so you're always getting... So at least base, you're always going to have your 5-up. Yep.
Super nice. Super nice. And then, yeah, if you're able to get the 3-up, 5-up, I don't think much is going to be able to kill them.
Disgusting. So they're a cool unit. I mean, they're relatively cheap for what they are able to do. I am a big fan. We're going to move over to because those are the Fulgurite Electro Priests. We're going to talk about the Corpus Cari ones. We don't actually have the models.
No.
So we're going to keep looking at the Fulgurites because they're better anyways. No, the Corpus Cari aren't terrible. They've got the same stats.
The exact same stat line, but these guys have just a different weapon, which instead of their staff is an electrostatic gauntlet, which has a shooting profile and a melee profile. So the shooting profile is range 12, assault 3, strength 5. And then each wound of a 6+...
Hit roll. Each hit roll.
Oh, this is hit roll too. So this one is each hit roll of a 6+ causes 3 hits rather than just 1. So that can be kind of nice, being able to get multiple hits off one guy.
They're there to deal with the hordes of stuff. I actually, if we have them, if we can get some of them, I'm going to start to bring them.
Yeah, no,
because all those little Gribblies trying to tie you up. Strength 5 will just kill stuff. Some AP would be nice, but who cares? The gauntlets work the exact same way in melee, except for they're 2 attacks. But they're strength 5, 1 damage, and hit rolls of 6. What I don't like is you lose a little bit. You lose the Siphoned Vigor rule. So you still have a 5-up invuln from the Voltegeist field. That works the same way with the charge and all that, too.
You're still getting your Fanatical Devotion as well, your additional 5-up save.
Right. You
just ignore wounds.
You can never get better than a 5-up invuln with these guys.
Exactly.
Or at least from themselves.
Yeah. No getting a 3-up invuln for killing things is what you're losing, but... You do get a kind of cool shooting attack, gives them a little bit more to play with them, not just having one purpose. But hey, Good
enough.
I don't see why you wouldn't bring a unit of both.
Difference. Yeah, I mean, they both definitely have their uses, and I would use either one. Right now, I'm leaning heavier towards the Fulgurites because I like being able to do more wounds to stuff. But yeah, like I said, they both have their options.
Yeah, and it's not like do you really need the more shooting? I mean, you have a whole army based a lot around lots of shooting. Getting additional 3, I guess. Well, I mean, if you have 10 of them, it's 30 shots. So blue.
Well, and the chances are that you're gonna roll how many 6s out of that 30? Enough. So you're gonna get more hits than you actually threw dice.
That's kind of scary. It is like not putting into perspective with numbers. That is a little bit terrifying.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, strength 5 is good enough because people are like, well, there's no AP. Who cares? You're wounding Marines on 3s, and they're going to fail their 3-up saves eventually if you make them take a bajillion saves. Good enough for me.
Yeah, no, totally usable.
Move over to a heavy support choice, Castellan Robots. If you guys are watching this and you're familiar with MiniWarGaming, you know this is probably one of my favorite units in the game. I love them. I love them in 7th, and they did not disappoint for 8th edition. So going over some of the stats here. We get an 8-inch move.
Very nice.
Perfect. I would have been happy with a 6-inch move. That would have been good enough. Weapon
Totally.
skill, ballistic skill, 4-up.
Nothing crazy, but with the mixture of all the re-rolling ones you can get,
right? It's scary. You gotta lean on the rules for the rest of the army. Strength 6, toughness 7. So again,
Toughness
super
awesome.
beefy, which means all the little. Well, is toughness 7 that much better than toughness 6? Not really. But still plasmas is what it's good against. Which is, I guess, what people are going to shoot at these guys.
Exactly.
6 wounds. Amazing.
Very nice.
3 attacks, leadership 10, 3-up save. So you're not going to ever lose one for failing a...
leadership test there. Yeah, no one's going to be fleeing.
I guess technically if you lost... Well, if you had a unit of 6... and you lost 5 in a turn, on a roll of 6, you're going to lose the last one.
So if they did 25 wounds to these guys, you might lose one.
No, 30 wounds, because it's 6 times 5.
Right, yeah. Yep, I can math. That's...
And why would you take that big of a unit anyways?
Really, exactly. What are you doing? Why not just bring multiple min squads?
They're not going to run away, guys. For the weapons now, we no longer have the twin heavy phosphors in the fists. It's just heavy phosphor blasters, and then the heavy phosphor is also a shoulder weapon. Or if the other shoulder weapon you can do is the Incendine Combustor, and you can put Castellan fists on them as well, instead of the phosphors in the hands. Heavy phosphor blasters don't disappoint. Heavy 3, 36-inch range, strength 6, -2 to your save. 1 damage, you don't get cover against it.
And the fact that one robot can have 3 of these.
Yep.
Getting 9 shots.
9 shots a dude.
That's bleh.
Hitting on 4s. And if
Again,
you
hopefully
move,
re-rolling your ones.
Yeah, but if you move, you're gonna hit on 5s, which is I've seen some people complain about. But if it was any better guys, it'd be too good.
Yep.
So this is where I talked about call earlier, re-rolling all of your misses.
Exactly.
You call with the robots. I love it.
Yeah, because when you're hitting on 5s and you're getting to re-roll all of those misses, your 2s, 3s, and 4s are, it's gonna be spooky.
The Incendine Combustor, basically a torrent, if you will, heavy flamer. It's a 12-inch range flamer. Automatic hit, strength 5, -1 to the save.
Not bad. It's a flamer. Flamers are good.
And then we got the Castellan Fist. So it's a melee weapon, +4 to your strength, so you get up to strength 10. And it swings like a thunder hammer, -3 to your save, 3 damage, but you don't get the penalty on the hit.
That's nice. Not hitting on 5s there and just hitting on base 4s. It'd be pretty scary. 3
attacks each, it's enough.
Yep.
It'll beat up some of the other big Griblies in the other guy's army. They're vehicles now, so they explode like vehicles. When you're reduced to 0 wounds, you got to roll a d6 before removing them. And on a 6, it explodes. 3-inch bubble, d3 mortal wounds. Nothing to write home about, but it's cool. It also means that a lot of the poison type mechanics don't work against them.
Okay.
Because they're usually against just non-vehicles.
Yep, exactly. This is another turn why you wouldn't want to run a big squad of them. They all just start exploding and dealing damage to each other.
Now, they still get their repulsor grid, so it's a 5-up invuln save against shooting attacks. In addition, each time you roll a 6+ for the invuln save, the unit that made the attack suffers a mortal wound.
So this is them bouncing back shots.
And I like the mechanic, because it used to be you'd bounce back what you got hit by.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's just do a mortal wound.
Yep. Easy enough.
It's easy to resolve and terrifying.
Yep. Mortal wounds. That seems to be a big theme in this army.
Yeah, they're able to toss out a bunch of mortal wounds. The battle protocols is what pushes this unit over the top for me. So you've got 3 different protocols. The same thing, you can use your Cybernetica Datasmith to change it. We'll talk about him in a minute. But it works on a 2-up. And you do it in the movement phase, and it takes effect at the start of the next battle round.
Okay.
But the different protocols, you have the Protector protocol. When it's in effect, you cannot move or charge, but you can shoot twice in the shooting phase, and then shoot twice for Overwatch.
Seems good. Which
is hilarious when you're throwing that many dice for Overwatch. Because I like to run a unit of 4, right?
Boo.
So
you get 9 shots apiece. Doubling that is 18 shots apiece with 4 of them.
Yeah.
You're still going to roll a decent number of 6s.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, you're just going to throw dice and just laugh at people.
Indeed.
So, yeah, this terrible shooting unit, you want to go charge it, but if you charge it, you're going to take a ton of Overwatch. I love it. Conqueror Protocol, probably the one I'd use the least. You can't shoot, but you can fight twice in each fight phase.
Okay, if you're somehow locked in or engaged, I can see where this might be
helpful. Every once in a while, like if they've got the Castellan Fists on them, and you're fighting other big kind of gribbly monster stuff, sure, just punch them to death.
Mm-hmm.
But that's usually not what I'm taking the unit for. The last one, the Aegis Protocol, and this is what you start with. You get to add 1 to any armor and invuln saving throws you make for the unit.
So it puts their 3-up save to a 2-up, and their 5-up to a 4-up invul.
Now, the other nice thing, too, is that, yeah, you get a 4-up invuln against shooting. Amazing. But any roll now, essentially, because you take the modifier into effect, of 5 or 6 for an invuln save, you're doing mortal wounds back.
Yep, those things do stack, so you're just going to be kicking them way more mortal wounds. And again, it's things that'll deter your opponent from even shooting at them.
Well, like, I did it a couple times against some of my opponents where I go, yeah, I could take a 2-up save against those bolters, or I could take a 4-up that on a 5-up will just kill a Marine that shot at me.
Yeah, I could see doing that as well.
And, I mean, if they're not doing that many wounds to the unit, why not?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah, because of the mortal aspect of those wounds, they're going to be going through their armor regardless, so that's a good way to kill. Yeah, whatever they're shooting at you that's got big weapons is probably going to have some big armor.
I found with these guys, I mean, unless the other guy makes smart choices, I can do as much damage in your shooting phase and your charge phase as I can in my own shooting phase.
Nice.
It's just, there's so much potential with these guys. I love them. They're not cheap for what they do. Oh, sorry, they're not cheap, but I find them cheap for what they do, rather.
Okay.
They're appropriately costed. Like I said, the only thing I've seen people really complain about is the weapons, or sorry, ballistic skill 4-up. Guys, that's good enough. If it was 3-up, it would be way too good, and they'd be an auto include and worth way more points. So I'm happy with how they built this unit. It feels right. It does what you need it to do. I love it.
It's still pretty terrifying on the battlefield.
Now on to another elite choice, the Cybernetica Datasmith.
These guys are going to be working with your Castellan robots pretty much, as they can allow you to change your battle protocols from your Castellan robots. But along that lines, they have a weapon skill of 3-up, ballistic skill 3-up, strength toughness 4, 4 wounds, 2 attacks, decent leadership of 8, and save of 2-up.
Yeah, they're single model characters. So this is okay. So this is where, for me, the tech priests, I just don't care about the engine seers. And I know engine seers fill a different role, but these guys, it bleeds over the same way. Because they also heal. They can only heal robots, but who cares? But robots are what you're going to want to heal anyways.
Yeah, you're going to be putting them right beside your robots anyway, so I don't know why you'd want them to be healing anything else.
He's got better stats than the engine seer. So instead of weapon skill, ballistic skill 4-up, he's got 3-ups. And instead of a 3-up save, the Datasmith has a 2-up save.
Mm-hmm. He's a little bit harder to kill.
Better. And he comes with a Power Fist, which is good. I mean, they're just, yeah, okay, he's going to hit on 5s, but who cares? Or, sorry, hit on 4s, but you don't want to get hit by a Power Fist.
He's going to be strength 8, -3.
D3 damage, so good enough. He's also got the Gamma Pistol, which, underwhelming because it's pistol 1, 12-inch range, but it's strength 6, -3 to your save 2 damage. And you can reroll failed wound rolls when attacking a vehicle. It's really good.
Yeah, just as an extra little pew. Just try to pick off something, do an extra little damage here or there. Like there's nothing wrong with getting that free extra one shot. Because I mean, again, you're going to be bringing these guys with your robots, so one extra shot just to go. It's only 12-inch range, but just to pick off something else. Hey,
it's hilarious. Well, the way it used to work before, because now you can split your shots wherever you want, anyways. Mm-hmm. So the reason you took Data Smiths before is, well, like A, you needed to because the unit came with one. But B, you could give up a Data Smith shooting to have a robot shoot a different target in 7th edition.
Okay.
Now you're just going to use the pistol anyways.
Yep. And again, he can target anyone he wants, so you don't even have to go at anything far away like your robots should be shooting at.
Yep. It's just... He's a cool little character without any options, but if you're bringing robots, it's worth bringing 1 or 2. And with him being a small base, it's easy to hide him in the unit, so he's not going to get picked out.
Yes, very much. He's going to just stay with them, stay close, and not... and again, if you're aware of if your opponent has any deep strikers or anybody coming in from reserve like that, then you can put him in a spot where he's not going to be picked off very easily.
Yeah. Again, I got no complaints. They're just good.
Moving on to another elite slot, which is the Servitors. You're going to have a unit of 4 of them. They're going to be weapon skill and ballistic skill 5, strength and toughness 3, 1 wound, 1 attack, leadership 6, 4 up save, and you got a bunch of different gun options for these guys.
Right. Everyone comes with a servo arm, and then up to 2 of them can swap out for heavy bolter, multi-melta, or plasma cannon.
The base servo arm is similar to looks like almost like a power fist, but it's only strength times 2, -2 AP, 3 damage, and they can only use 1 attack. Is it each time this model fights? You can only make 1 attack.
Yep.
In the model with this, and it has to subtract 1, so yeah, unwieldy. So you're really only going to be hitting on 6s with it in close combat.
Yep. Then you got the Canticles, and then Mind Lock. If you're within 6 inches of a friendly tech priest, your weapon skill, ballistic skill go to 4 up, and your leadership is 9.
So almost, if you're bringing these guys, you really want them within a tech priest because you don't want to be hitting on just 6s.
Yeah, and the same like for moving and shooting the heavy weapons and all that. I don't love them. They're pretty basic. If the whole squad could swap out for heavy bolters, then I'd probably bring them.
Because we looked it up, they were 2 points base.
Right.
But then the servo arm is an additional 12, I believe.
Something like that.
And then I think the heavy bolter was 10, so it's a cheap... Josh was laughing at this because it was a cheap way to bring your heavy bolters in.
Well, at first I was like, okay, cool. I assume the servo arm isn't super expensive. So a bunch of 12-point heavy bolters walking around. Okay, I could do that. But no, the servo bolter's more points than heavy bolter. I don't like it.
Yep, and then I think all the other weapons are going to be still fairly expensive. Like, I don't mind the plasma cannon, but again, I feel like there's a better way to get your high strength, high damage shots in, rather than on these kind of puny 1 wound models here.
These terrible scrubs that are going to be a unit of 4.
They're going to be taking up one of your elite slots anyway as well. Nope. But I think, is there anything else really to say about these guys?
I don't know. If you again, they're definitely still usable. Like, if you loved Servitors before, they do kind of the same stuff. They're just... they're not my playstyle.
Yep, I think there's better things in this army to suit this role.
We're going to move over to the Skitarii component now. Starting off with Skitarii Rangers. Nice, cheap options here. Basic stats. They do have ballistic skill 3. But otherwise, they've got kind of guardsman stats, but a 4-up save, which is nice. The Ranger Alpha doesn't really give you anything extra other than extra attack. He doesn't retain his extra wound like he used to have.
He's got +1 leadership, +1 attack compared to the base guy. So, I feel like they're probably not going to charge you points, right? So.
It's what you expect out of it. So, it makes sense. The weapon now, galvanic rifles, still 30-inch rapid fire. Solid. Strength 4. Each time you make a wound roll of 6 up for the weapon, the AP is reduced by -1.
So it goes from 0 AP to -1 AP, which is, you know, a little extra just to push through that armor is definitely nice.
Yep, it's good enough. Same as before, up to 2 can replace their weapons with the special weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have 10 models, then 1 additional guy can do it. One Skitarii Ranger can have the enhanced data tether or an Omnispecs. Omnispecs is units don't get the benefit for being in cover.
And then the data tether is you can reroll morale tests for the unit that includes a model with the data tether. So
it's okay.
Yep.
It's not terrible. Moving down the list, Ranger Alpha can take 1 item from the melee weapons list. And also take a pistol if he wants. So to give you an idea...
That'd be instead of their Galv rifle.
Yeah, they replaced the Galvanic rifle with a pistol. So they still have the same options for everything here. Pistol weapons, you still get the Arc Pistol, the Phosphor Blast Pistol, and the Radium Pistol. They're pretty similar role to what they were before. Melee weapons, you still get the Arc Maul, the Power Sword, and the Taser Goad.
Mm-hmm.
So solid choices here. The weapons, the arc rifles changed up. Well, I guess none of the weapons have changed that much, the special weapons, except for the Transuranic Arquebus. Because it was always a heavy weapon that you could move and shoot with these guys, because they had that special rule. They don't have that rule, and it specifically states the Arquebus now, you can't move and shoot it anymore.
Oh, not at all.
Not at all.
So now even with the -1 penalty, that can definitely... That's not as good.
It's a little bit hefty. So the unit has shifted in their usefulness a little bit. I still like them because it's still pretty solid long-range firepower.
Seems like a good way to fill out your core as well, or your troops choices.
Yeah.
Have decent guys to shoot the hordes of, you know, while your big stuff shooting at their big stuff, your little stuff shooting at their little stuff, and you gotta have something to be able to pick off the units that are coming towards you. So I think that's what these guys here are for.
Yeah, they definitely they fill that role. And some of the nice stuff is that they still got their 6-up invuln.
Yep.
Because I think it used to be a 6-up Feel No Pain.
Mm-hmm.
And a 4-up save is good enough. With Shroud Sum, it puts you to 3-up. If you're in cover, it puts you to a 2-up. They can hang in there.
For sure.
So nothing too exciting, nothing too shiny here with them. But they're solid enough. Or I'm cheating and forget the fact that, yeah, if Shroud Psalm and Cover don't stack together, so that, yeah, they get to do a 3-up save, which, again, resilient enough. Next up, we're going to talk about the Skitarii Vanguard. They're the exact same stats as the Rangers.
Yep.
Like
literally the exact same.
They're the exact same point cost.
Nice.
Their gun a little bit different. They get the Radium Carbine still. 18-inch range, Assault 3. I love it.
Assault 3 is great.
Strength 3, 1 damage. Each time you make a wound roll of 6-up, you inflict 2 damage instead of 1.
Cool.
You're not really using them for that, but it's not terrible when it happens.
Yeah, if you're shooting at bikes or something, it's, you know, it has 2 wound models. It's going to be nice if they fail those saves.
Overall, yeah, like I said, I'm a fan of these guys. You can go up to a 10-man unit. You get 2 special weapons, but if you're a 10-man unit, you get the 3rd one as well. They're the exact same as the Rangers, other than they have a different gun, as well as they've got the Rad Saturation rule. So you reduce the toughness of enemy units that aren't vehicles by 1 while they're within 1 inch of any Skitarii Vanguard units.
So you got to be close to actually get that done, but
Get to be in combat, but it helps them out a little bit in combat, as well as the next couple units we're going to talk about.
They kind of add on to the other ones, and just like the Rangers, they also have the Omnispecs and the data tether.
Yep. Again, I don't know if I'd bother paying for them anymore. Maybe.
Yeah, the cover doesn't seem to be as massive as it was before, so that's, you know, not having minus or you know, getting the +1 to their save could be nice, but it also could give you no bonuses the entire game.
True. Moving on to some elite choices for the Skitarii stuff, we got the Sakaran Infiltrators. Love these guys. 8-inch move.
Awesome. 8-inch move on infantry is sweet.
I think they are slower than they used to be.
Oh, really?
But in this edition, if they were any faster, it'd be just silly.
Yeah, it seemed like the fast two-legged stuff at least goes 8.
Yeah.
And nothing much higher than that, but
good enough. Weapon skill, ballistic skill, 3-up, perfect. Strength 4,
Nice.
Toughness 3, which was always kind of their downfall.
Got to give them some kind of weakness somewhere.
2 wounds a pop, though.
Very nice.
3 attacks each, which will be really important in a second. Leadership 6, but it's going to be 7 with the Princeps.
And then you get an additional attack there as well.
Yeah, the Princeps gives you the additional attack as well as the additional leadership up to leadership 7. And they're a 4-up save.
Very nice. With these guys, you can arm them with 2 different types of weapons, because they can either have a stub carbine and a power sword, or a flechette blaster and a taser goad.
Now, the units we got in front of you guys right there on the camera, obviously are the flechette blasters and taser goads. Was always my preferred way to run them. So the flechette blaster is still a 12-inch range pistol, but it's a 5-shot.
Pistol 5.
Strength 3.
Cool.
I think it used to be like strength 2 and gave you a reroll.
Okay.
But strength 3 is good enough because it's going to wound most stuff. I mean, all the squishy targets you're wounding on 4s, and anything better than that, you're going to wound on 5s.
I mean, you're not going to be shooting these at big things anyway. So just
if you're shooting this, you're not going to shoot these at toughness 6.
No,
or at least not on purpose. Like maybe later in the game, if you
say,
got nothing better to shoot at.
You might because they're within range, or you have nothing better. But yeah, this is not meant to.
You're not bringing them to go after that stuff. Then the stub carbine is 18-inch range, pistol 3, strength 4, 1 damage. Good enough. Nothing fantastic. The close combat weapons is the power sword. At this point, you guys know what power swords do.
Yep.
But you also get the taser goad. Now, I don't like taser goads on characters necessarily, but a whole unit of taser goads, yes.
Yeah, because this is strength +2, so going to be hitting on or strength 6, which can be very nice. And for each roll of a 6 up, the weapon causes 3 hits rather than 1. So you're suddenly multiplying all of your hits when you're getting them.
Right.
Which could just be, if you're able to spike some good 6s on your hits, oh boy.
It just goes bananas. So this is where, the Chant of the Remorseless Fist comes in super handy. Or even Invocation of the Machine Might. Because I think it's strength 7.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Not useful that often, but every once in a while it gets to be kind of funny. As far as the special rules for these guys, you've got the Bionics everybody does for a 6-up invuln save. You got the Neurostatic Aura, so any units within 3 must subtract 1 for their leadership. So they're spooky scary.
Yeah, maybe helping your opponent have a few guys extra flee, which can be nice.
Now here's the one that is kind of the all-important part for me is Infiltrators. During deployment, you can set this unit up in concealment instead of placing on the battlefield. At the end of any of your movement phases, you can reveal its location. Set it up anywhere in the battlefield, more than 9 inches away from enemy models.
So, hello, we're behind you.
They get to do the deep strike thing. So before, they used to just use the infiltrate rule, where they get deployed last and, could go.
Okay.
This rule is way better.
Oh, for sure.
Because now you get to, they show up whenever you want them to show up, and basically they pop up on the board with those flechette blasters and go, hello, light infantry. Goodbye, light infantry.
Yeah. Yeah, because, they don't even need to... Making their charge would be nice on an 8 or a 9, I guess, because it has to be more than 9
it's a 9-inch charge.
But, yeah, with their 12-inch range pistols, you can still get within pistol range of people.
Well, that's the thing, is that if people set up the way you want them to, you get nice and close to 2 different units, and you shoot one and just charge the other one.
Exactly.
So, I love them. I think these things are absolutely amazing. The power swords, the power swords are pretty good. For my chosen role of killing light stuff, I still prefer Taser Goad, though.
Yeah, it seems like the additional hits, or the ability to get the additional hits, could be totally awesome over the AP of the power sword.
Right. Next thing we're going to talk about here is the Seer Ruststalkers. Pretty easy talking point on these guys. The stats, they are the literal exact same as the Infiltrators.
Just going over them right now, and for sure, identical stat lines. But again, these guys just have different weapon options. So they can have a transonic razor and a claw, or a cord claw, or... Wait, they can have a cord claw and a transonic razor, or they can have 2 transonic razors? Is that what I'm reading?
No, they go transonic blades.
Oh, transonic blades. There we go. All the words look the same.
Welcome to Ad Mech. So the weapons aren't terrible. So the Cord Claw is just a strength user D3 damage, no AP. but a wound roll of 6 does mortal wounds instead.
And you can only use this to make 1 attack.
Right. So the idea is that with the 3 attacks, 1 swing with the cord claw, 2 swings with the razor. The razor is the exact same thing. Strength user, 0 AP, 1 damage, and wound rolls of 6 do 1 mortal wound instead.
Nice.
So these guys have the potential to churn out a ton of mortal wounds, but the transonic blades give you +1 strength, so you get up to strength 5.
Okay.
And each time you make a wound roll of 6 up, mortal wound. So
not bad.
They're not. Here's the thing. I think they're somewhere between the Electro Priests with the staves and the infiltrators. Okay. They're not bad, but they don't have any way to get them up the board faster, like the infiltrate rule for the infiltrators.
Mm-hmm.
And they just die.
I was gonna say they only have 4 up and then a 6 up in or a 6 up in wall. I mean, even if you do get your everybody's in cover, they're getting a 3 up save, but you're only gonna be moving 8, which is still fast. But how are you gonna? You need to be in close combat.
I don't mind them. I think they're a cool unit. They're not going to be one of my top picks, though. And I've used them extensively, guys. It might be the fact that, for whatever reason, when I use the infiltrators, I can roll 6s for days. And when I use these guys, I can't roll any. Or do you know what it is? It's because the infiltrators are on 6s to hit. These guys are on 6s to wound, so there's less chance.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. For sure there. Because you're only going to be getting... If you're hit... weapon skill 3, so you're going to be getting through more than half, but still.
Right. It's just... They're a cool unit. They definitely have their place. I'm really curious to see what you guys think of them. Overall, they're not my favorite, but hey, they can still get work done. Next up, moving over to some of the fast attack choices here. Start off with the Iron Strider Belisarius. Pretty solid stats. They're 10-inch move.
Yeah, 10-inch move for... I mean, they got long legs. It looks like they should move 10.
I think they should move faster. I want them moving faster.
Yeah?
Yep. I want 12 or 14-inch move.
Oh, boy.
Look how long the legs are. Like, do they look like they're just barely faster than the robots?
I guess if the robots move 8, then yes, I guess they should at least move 12. I'll give you that.
So we've got weapon skill, ballistic skill 3 up.
Mm-hmm.
Solid. Strength 5, toughness 6. You're looking for that toughness 6, which is pretty handy. 6 wounds.
Nothing to scoff at.
So tough to take down with 1 shot.
Mm-hmm.
But still doable. 2 attacks, leadership 8, and a 4-up save. Now you can bring them. You buy them as a unit of 1.
Mm-hmm.
You can buy up to 5 additional.
Ooh.
In 7th and 8th, I don't see the point. Just buy a bunch of single ones running around. Like, you're not going to want that many.
Unless for some reason you wanted a certain number in your squad and they are fast attack choices, so you couldn't fit the number that you wanted with the fast attack choice slots. I could see maybe doing multiple 2s.
Maybe 2s or something. But here's the thing: is that there's 2 fast attack choices for Ad Mech overall.
So it's not like you're bloating your fast attack anyway.
Right.
Okay.
So to max out, I can never see somebody taking a squad of 6 of these. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something, guys, but explain it to me. Because it just means that you're going to lose some when you fail your leadership tests.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're not super resilient.
Mm-hmm. Leadership 8, so you've got to lose a fair number to start having them fleet, but it's still a stress you don't have to put on yourself.
It's true. All right. As far as stuff that they have, they got the Bionics rule. Their vehicles, so they explode. They've got the broad spectrum data tether, which friendly units within 3 at the start of the morale phase add 1 to their leadership test.
Cool.
So it kind of helps, but again, you're not really taking them for that.
Mm-hmm.
The weapon options, we've got them both there in front of you. It's either twin Cognis autocannons or twin Cognis las cannons.
So the autocannon is heavy 4, strength 7, -1 AP, 2 damage. And you can fire this weapon even if you have advance?
Yeah, that's the difference. So it's a standard twin autocannon and a standard twin las cannon. Mm-hmm. The Cognis rule says that even if you advance, you can still fire, but at -2. So now they're going to hit on 5s.
I mean, the options there, again, it's not... You don't have to use it, but if you want to and you need to advance, you can still...
For whatever reason. You know what I see these guys as? Late game.
Mm-hmm.
When the opponent is beating you on points and you just need to table them.
And you need to
and they're trying to hide something, then you send the murder chickens after them to go run them down.
No,
you can't chase after you.
Yeah, or even hopping on objectives late game as well. being able to just hop on them, and yeah, you're going to be hitting on 5s, but hey, you're still shooting.
They're kind of cool. I like them. I wouldn't bring them that much because it's not my play style, but they definitely, if you've got them, they're still usable. If you like them in 7th, you probably like them in 8th.
Now we have the Sidonian Dragoons, the other Fat attack choice. Almost the same stat line across the board, but they get 3 attacks instead of 2, like the Iron Striders. So we're going to kick you even more.
I mean, these are supposed to be the close combat-y ones. So you start off, you get the broad spectrum data tether, and you get a taser lance, as well as you get the, oh sorry, no, that's an option. Yeah, you get a taser lance to get started. Okay. Taser lance is strength melee, so it's only strength, strength plus 3.
Mm-hmm.
So strength 8.
That's nice.
It's respectable. 2 damage, but no AP.
No.
There wasn't any kind of AP to it in 7th, and there still isn't in 8th. I was hoping for like a -1 or something.
Yeah, like for you call something a lance, you'd at least expect maybe if on a charge it would get an AP bonus, something like that. I don't know, for fluff and flavor reasons. But the additional rule for this is each hit of a 6-up causes 3 hits rather than 1, just like the other
Taser stuff.
Yep. So hey, that could be nice though.
It's pretty good. You can take a Phosphor Serpenta, which is just the 18-inch range assault 1 pistol, strength 5, -1 AP, and no cover against it.
Yep.
Or you can switch your lance for a Radium Giselle, 30-inch range, heavy 2, strength 5, and it's basically a sniper weapon, so you can pick out characters with it if you want. And each time you make a wound roll of 6 up for the weapon, and it inflicts a mortal wound in addition to normal damage.
Now the problem about that is I feel like you're going to be moving these guys because of their speed at least, and that's a heavy weapon, so you're only going to be hitting on 4s.
Which is not that tough to hit.
No.
But it's not anything to write home about.
No, I just think that's a weird spot to put a sniper weapon when you think you don't really want your snipers up and running around. But hey.
It was the same way in 7th. It's kind of a weird, confused role. You could put them on the outskirts to try to snipe stuff a bit. And that kind of helps, I guess. There's also, they've got the other rule for the Incense Cloud. So your opponent must subtract 1 from all hit rolls for ranged weapons. Okay. So at least you get some resiliency out of them.
Yep. Almost like a camouflage, or just it makes them harder to hit. So
they used to get a 5-up cover, I think.
Okay.
So that's their way, kind of taking a nod to it. Again, if you liked them in 7th, you'll probably like them in 8th. Not my cup of tea, but there are some uses for them. The last unit we're going to talk about in this video, guys, is the Dune Crawlers. I love them. Okay, heavy support choice. You start off with movement 8. They get the decreasing stats. So the stats are similar to the way that like a Space Marine Predator would decrease in effectiveness.
Once you hit half, you start to get a little bit worse. I believe that there's a little bit of a misprint in here.
They missed the what happens if you're at 6 remaining.
Yes, because it goes
7 to 11, 3 to 5, 1 to 2.
So on a 6.
God mode.
Yep. You cease to exist. I don't know. But again, I'm hoping it's just a typo.
Well, yeah. So my assumption at this point is it works like a Predator, so it's 6 to 11.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just the 2 half. Exactly.
Yeah. So movement 8, amazing, solid. That's what you need. Ballistic skill, you start on a 3-up.
Very nice.
Toughness 7, 11 wounds. Pretty standard stats here. You get that 3-up save. So one thing that really helps with the resiliency of these guys is you've got the force field as well.
Gives them a 5-up invul.
Yeah, the way it used to work in 7th edition is that you had a 6-up invul, and for every other one in the unit that was in coherency, you got +1 up to a 4-up. Well, now you just take these as single choices. You can't take squadrons of them anymore. But if you're within 6 inches of another friendly Doom Crawler, you get to reroll invuln saves of 1.
Nice. Okay.
So a 5-up rerolling 1, that's pretty darn good.
Yeah. No.
I'm happy enough with that. And the fact that, because the 6-up invulns are nice, but meh.
How often does it actually save you?
It never saved me in 7th edition, but a 5-up sure does.
Oh, totally. Yeah, and the 5-up base, so you don't even have to bring 2. And then if you do bring a second, then just re-rolling those ones, making it that much harder to fail it. So very nice.
One other special rule here, because it's got the smoke launchers and the broad spectrum data tether. You know what the data tether does. You know what the smoke launchers do from some other reviews. You've got the crawler ability. So you can only advance up to D3, but who cares? You ignore the -1 penalty for moving and shooting heavy weapons.
Very nice.
You're never going to advance them, but you can just kind of spider your way around shooting at stuff. 8-inch move. Which is going to bring us over to the guns, the all-important gun section. You start off with the Eradication Beamer. 36-inch range, heavy D6. Strength 8, -2 to your save, D3 damage. Okay, solid. If you attack units within 12-inch range, though, you go to heavy D3, so it's less shots, but you go to AP -4 and damage D6.
Cool. Okay, so kind of nice, but do you really want to get that close to things to do that heavy damage?
Normally not. So some of the other options, you get the twin heavy phosphor blasters. So it's the heavy phosphors that we talked about for the robots earlier. 36-inch range, heavy 6, because it's a twin one. Strength 6, -2 to your save, no cover. It's not terrible, but eh. The two options I'm excited about are the Icarus array. So when you attack with the Icarus array, you fire all 3 of the profiles below. It's one weapon system still, though. So.
Yeah, and that's important that you're firing all 3 of these, and you don't just have to pick one or there's no range. It's all 3 all the time.
48-inch range. You get the one-shot missile launcher. Strength 7, -3 to your save, D6 damage. The Gatling rocket launcher. Heavy 5, strength 6, -2 to your save, 1 damage. And then the twin Icarus autocannon. You know what autocannons do? 4 shots of strength 7, 2 damage, -1 to your save.
Very nice.
The important bit here, though, is you add 1 to any hit rolls made if you are shooting against targets that have the fly keyword.
Now, you do have to subtract 1 to hit rolls for all other targets. So essentially, because you have a ballistic skill of 3, you're going to be hitting on everything else on 4s. But if it's got fly,
you're going to hit it on 2s unless it's one of the supersonic ones that's got hard to hit or whatever. Then you're going to hit it on 3s. So things like, the supersonic flyers as well as Quirk's Harlequins, I think, have all got hard to hit.
Yep, okay.
I'm still going to hit you on 3s.
Very, the ability to not have that bonus against flyers, because that's one of the benefits of them, is they're, yours -1 to hit them, so they're harder to take down, but these guys are apparently very good at hitting them.
Exactly.
They don't care.
And the thing is, even for all those guns hitting on 4s against non-flying targets, sure.
Oh, that's great.
Good enough. You get 10 shots, guys.
10 shots that you can... Yeah, because it's 3 different profiles, you can choose to shoot these elsewhere, or do you all have to shoot them the same target?
It's one weapon system, so you got to shoot all the same target.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not like you can put the 1 heavy missile shot into a tank and then the other 9 into somewhere else, but still.
I am 99.9% sure of that.
Okay.
I'm sure you guys will correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, since it's one weapon system, they all got to fire at the same target.
Makes sense.
But who cares? You really want the target to die.
Oh, yeah. It should, if not go down, be severely damaged after.
Exactly. My favorite gun of the game, my favorite thing of the game, neutron laser. You guys know I love these in 7th edition. In 8th edition, they're still amazing. 48-inch range. Heavy D3. So you get 3 shots per. Remember, you don't get a penalty for moving and shooting, so make sure you line your shots up and shoot whatever you want.
Yep.
Strength 10. Amazing. Going to wound
always
pretty
good.
well everything. Most vehicles are going to be 3s, but then you get into that magic realm of wounding stuff on 2s. Toughness 5 stuff.
Infantry, yep.
-4 to your save. So I don't care if you're behind a wall. I'm going to shoot you. So yeah, huge AP there. And then D6 damage, like a las cannon. The reason this is way better, though, is you treat damage rolls of 1 or 2 as a 3 instead. So you can never do less than 3 damage if you...
That's insane. This one, to me, is... I find that awesome. Because I'm not a big fan of the D6 damage. I mean, I do, because who doesn't like the damage output? But the ability to just roll a 1 always sucks.
Yep.
So just the reliance of always 3 or 4 or 5 or 6.
Right, and it's a heavy D3 weapon, so you've got stuff where you're throwing that single las cannon shot, and it's a D6. You might roll a 1. This one now we're gonna fire D3 times. It's strength 10 -4, so 1 blip better for each of those compared to a las cannon, and The damage is just a minimum of 3.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know much more you can ask for. Absolutely amazing setup. I love it.
Yeah, that seems very strong, and I would like this ability to be elsewhere, but I see why the Ad Mech get it.
Well, because the neutron lasers were always like a small blast, strength 10, AP 1.
Okay.
I was worried that they were gonna kind of make it lame. They didn't. It's amazing, and I love it.
It's not lame at all.
Like I said, probably my favorite gun in the game right now.
I can totally see that. It's threatening to almost everything on the battlefield. Now,
so overall impressions here, guys, for the Ad Mech, I find that for the most part, they still play the same way that they used to play in 7th. Okay. I think the close combat stuff is a little bit more viable than it used to be. Definitely. Now, Cullen, as you coming from not playing hardly any 7th edition 40K, but you played some 8th edition.
Oh, yeah.
Not with these guys or against these guys, I don't think. But
no, not yet.
What are your overall impressions of them?
Yeah, they seem pretty good. They do get a 6-up invol everywhere, which is just, again, it's not going to save you a lot of the time, but because everything does have it, it's going to be that much harder to punch through your stuff, and your shooting seems quite terrifying, and if you don't solve some of the big threats early, you're going to have a real problem taking the game back, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. The play style for me is going to be similar to how I play in 7th, where I will do my best to pick your army apart piece by piece, and I won't give you a chance to hit me.
Yeah, for sure, because it'll be a first turn of I feel like you versus your opponent, who can kill the most big stuff right away.
Exactly, and I look at it and go, okay, so first turn, if I get first turn, I'm probably, depending on how I've deployed, will turn on the reroll 1s to hit.
Yes.
The Benediction of the Omnissiah Canticle. Or, you seize the initiative, or, I had more drops than you, so I'm going to have to go second. Okay, Shroud Psalm. Now everything's got 1 better armor save.
Yeah, exactly. You make it either your first turn is more threatening, or that their shooting won't be as effective against you. And both options seem pretty darn scary.
It's the versatility that you have with these guys. So
yes.
I'm loving it. I think it's an amazing faction to play. I'm having tons of fun. Thank you guys for tuning in. Cullen and I are going to jump down into the vault now to talk tactics a little bit more and get a little bit more in depth on specific units and some of the different builds you can use, what they're good for, what they're not good for. So vault members, click on the link below to check that out. If you're not a vault member, we invite you guys to click on the link below anyways. It'll take you to a 7-day free trial. We're going to get to check out this video as well as the rest of the videos we have in the vault. Everything we do, we tend to do in pairs, so that's at least twice as much content for you guys, as well as you get access to Chris and Janine's painting tips and tricks, some other fun, exclusive Vault member content. So check it out, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Keep being awesome, and as always, happy wargaming.